So our next topic is clarity. I have talked about clarity from time to time through a number of the different videos that we've done, and it was one of the things we found when we talked to soldiers and athletes about what it was like to work in the workplace, where most of us are. They said, wow, it just feels fuzzy. It feels murky. And what we ultimately called clarity was this lack of a crystallized plan from strategy to execution. And it was something that they were used to. So I'm going to unpack that this week. And the first part of clarity I want to talk about is probably what everyone thinks it means, which is it's the what. What is it that I actually have to do? If you can't be clear enough, and some people will talk about this as like setting SMART goals. If it's not specific and measurable, if I can't undeniably measure whether or not I did something, you're lacking clarity. So when it comes to what is it you need to do, let me give you some examples. And again, I think the SMART goals thing comes to mind. But if somebody said, are you making your calls? That's one of the most common things that in the staffing world, where I have done a lot of work, salespeople and recruiters have to make a lot of phone calls. And some people would say, well, yeah, I made 70 calls. Okay. Maybe we weren't quite clear. When we say you made the call, we actually mean that you reached someone, or you at least reached their voicemail and left an intentional message. Now, obviously, other people might say, I don't even care about you leaving messages. I want to know, did you talk to somebody? But look, if I make a phone call and it actually doesn't go through, it's a wrong number. Well, do you count that? No. Obviously, you shouldn't. But look, in a lot of our systems, a lot of our methodologies, we don't have that level of clarity. And so you might look back at even your incentives. How do you decide what to pay people for? Someone would say, I only pay for new business. Okay, well, what about new business within an existing client? What about new business that somehow benefits another business unit, not your business unit? So when you get down to the clarity for someone to be confident and really know, I know exactly what to do, it's got to be SMART. It's got to be specific and measurable. Now, there is some variability in what people use for the A and the R. I learned it, and really cool when you're actually in Philadelphia. I got to meet the guy who said he created SMART all those years ago. Anyway, so I say actionable. It's got to be something you can actually do. Realistic, and some people will use the A and they say attainable. I think it's the same thing as realistic. And then the T is time-bound. So it's the first part of creating high levels of clarity. Do people know exactly what to do, what counts, and whether or not it was done? If you're not sure, ask. Ask around, ask the managers, ask team members, and say, you know what, if I was going to actually create a little incentive, maybe a contest, are you clear enough on how to actually win? Trust me, the questions will come. They're going to start to bring out the things that you haven't even thought about. But make sure before you actually think you're pushing for high performance that you've got a high level of clarity on what you need to do. All right, that's a good starting point. We're going to talk about several other aspects of clarity in some of the messages to come. Thanks a lot.